Conference call of XPeng Inc. At this time, all participants are in listen-only mode. After management's remarks, there will be a question-and-answer session. Today's conference call is being recorded. I would now like to turn the call over to your host, Mr. Alex Xie, Head of Investor Relations of the company. Please go ahead, Alex.
Thank you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to XPeng's second quarter 2022 earnings conference call. Our financial and operating results were issued via Newswire services earlier today and are available online. You can also view the earnings press release by visiting the IR section of our website at ir.xiaopeng.com. Participants on today's call from our management will include Co-founder, Chairman, and CEO, Mr. He Xiaopeng, Vice Chairman and President, Dr. Brian Gu, Vice President of Finance, Mr. Dennis Lu, Vice President of Corporate Finance and Investments, Mr. Charles Zhang, and myself. Management will begin with the prepared remarks, and the call will conclude with a Q&A session. A webcast replay of this conference call will be available on the IR section of our website. Before we continue, please note that today's discussion will contain forward-looking statements made under the Safe Harbor provisions of the U.S. Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. Forward-looking statements involve inherent risks and uncertainties. As such, the company's results may be materially different from the views expressed today. Further information regarding these and other risks and uncertainties is included in the relevant public filings of the company as filed with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. The company does not assume any obligation to update any forward-looking statements except as required under applicable law. Please also note that XPeng's earnings press release and this conference call include the disclosure of unaudited GAAP financial measures as well as unaudited non-GAAP financial measures. XPeng's earnings press release contains a reconciliation of the unaudited non-GAAP measures to the unaudited GAAP measures. I will now turn the call over to our co-founder, Chairman, and CEO, Mr. He Xiaopeng. Please go ahead.
大家好，2022年第二季度，小鹏汽车的交付量达到了34422台，同比增长98%。上险量在造车新势力中连续4个季度排名第一。在今年下半年起，我们将推出一系列自主研发且行业领先的产品跟技术，以及搭载这些先进技术的新一代车型。我相信这会使我们的用户享受电动化和智能化技术创新的红利。
Hi everyone. In the second quarter of 2022, XPeng delivered 34,422 vehicles, representing 98% growth year-over-year. For the fourth consecutive quarter, we ranked number 1 among emerging EV makers in China as measured by vehicle insurance registration volume. Starting from the second half of this year, we'll launch a suite of industry-leading products and technologies developed in-house, as well as next-generation smart EV models equipped with these state-of-the-art technologies. These upcoming product launches will bring our customers an unparalleled driving experience through innovation in both electrification and smart technologies.
我们的旗舰 SUV 车型 G9 在8月10号公布了类似跟开放预定，24小时以后 G9 的预定就已经突破了 2.2 万，远超同期的 P7 跟 P5， 并且还在持续快速的增加，这显示出用户的需求十分的强劲。在8月26日 G9 将会在成都车展与消费者实地见面，我们计划在9月份举办 G9 的上市发布会并公布定价，并且在10月启动交付。G9 从造型设计、操作性能，在舒适性、豪华性的体验上都是对标百万豪车的 SUV， 绝对是旗舰级的 SUV。G9 充分体现了小鹏在电动化技术自研所取得的领先优势，率先实现了车内800伏高压平台跟车外480千瓦超快充的高压闭环，这会为我们的用户带来极致的充电体验。在智能化方面， G9 将以行业领先的城市 NGP 为基础，推出下一代全场景智能辅助驾驶，并且大幅度提高智能辅助驾驶的可用区域，让驾驶更轻松、更安全和更广泛。我们相信 G9 会是50万以内最好的 SUV， 并且成为中大型 SUV 市场最热销的车型。
On August 10th, we unveiled interior design of our new flagship G9 SUV and began accepting reservations. The pre-orders of G9 exceeded 22,000 within 24 hours, and this has exceeded the models that we launched previously, which were the P7 and G9 that were launched at the same period, and the orders of G9 keeps increasing, which shows the strong demand from our customers. On August 26th, the G9 will join us at the Chengdu Auto. We plan to announce the G9's price during its official launch in September and commence deliveries in October. With its stylish design, superior control and driving performance, lavish comfort and other luxury features that benchmark against luxury SUVs priced nearly 1 million RMB, the G9 has already proven itself a veritable flagship model in the SUV segment. The G9 also showcases our leadership position in electrification technology innovations as the first model to offer our groundbreaking end-to-end high-voltage charging technology, which is comprised of an onboard 800-volt high-voltage platform and 480 kilowatt supercharging station, bringing the ultimate charging experience to our customers. With respect to smart technology configurations, based on our industry-leading City Navigation Guided Pilots, or CDNGP, G9 will provide our next-generation full-scenario advanced driving assistance system to market. The G9 will significantly expand the coverage of advanced-level driving assistance system, making driving easier and safer. I believe the G9 will be the market's best SUV under 500,000 RMB and become one of the best sellers among medium to large size SUVs.
我们相信，依赖于创新性技术创新的平台化基础上，我们将加快下面一步小鹏汽车的新产品推出的节奏，丰富我们在15到50万价格区间内的产品矩阵。我们明年计划推出一款 B 级的新型车。新车型将扩大我们在这一细分市场的市场份额。我们还将推出一款 C 级的新车型，为需要更大和更舒适空间的用户群带来一款极致的产品。明年我们通过这2款新车型加上 G9， 我相信会推动我们销量高速的增长，并且同时凭借我们自主研发的电动跟智能化的平台化技术，以及整个产品力的升级，我们在产品的平均售价也随之提高。并且与同级和越级的对标车型相比，我们还拥有更强的产品竞争力。所以我非常有信心，通过我们全面推进的整车系统平台化，以及包括一体化压铸技术等多项制造工艺的提高，我们预计 G9 和明年的新车型的毛利率会比现在车型的基础上有显著的提高。
I believe that based on our technological innovation and our platform systems architecture, we will actually innovate and accelerate the pace of our new product launches to round out our offering with vehicles priced between 150,000 to 500,000 RMB. In 2023, we plan to launch a new B-Class model which will help us expand our market share in this segment. We'll also roll out a new C-Class model next year to bring a compelling product to customers in need of additional cabin space with greater comfort. These 2 new models, in addition to the G9, will bolster our strong sales growth momentum to carry through next year. Meanwhile, leveraging our top-notch electrification and smart technologies and our platform development system developed in-house to constantly upgrade product performance, the average selling price of our products will rise accordingly, as our products' superior features boost their competitiveness amongst same class and even higher class models. With our concerted efforts to advance our platform-based vehicle architecture and multiple technological improvements in manufacturing, such as integrated die casting techniques, we expect a meaningful vehicle margin expansion for the G9 as well as our new models coming next year.
从 G9 开始，小鹏在电动化基础上一直长期的投入跟自主研发，将会奠定我们在除了智能化以外，在电动化上我们也相信会进入新的技术领先优势，并且为消费者 带来体验的大幅度提升。那么 G9 将为小鹏汽车的电动化技术整整提升了一代。从 G9 开始和后续的新车型将会全面支持超级快充体系。那么用技术的升级在不断提高用户的补能效率。我们的新车型不光能在小鹏超快充网络实现最佳的充电效率，也能够在第三方充电桩获得更高的功率分配和更持久的峰值功率。这样的话，在同样时间会比竞品车型补充更多的续航里程。此外，我们已经实现了电机的自研自制，我们会加速在这一块方面的创新技术的应用。我们还将持续推进电子系统与整车的大系统的一体化设计，用更多底层的电动化技术创新，为消费者带来更长续航、更快充电和更低制造成本的智能电动汽车。
Starting from G9, XPeng's commitment to long-term investment in proprietary electrification technologies has fostered our leading edge in this area, while significantly enhancing our customers' experience. The G9 has leveled up XPeng's electrification technologies to the next generation. What's more, the G9 and subsequent new models will be fully compatible with high-power supercharging system, and we will consistently enhance charging efficiency for customers through technological upgrades. Our new models can not only achieve the best charging speed on XPeng's self-operated high-power supercharging network, but also allow our customers to have better charging experience in third-party charging stations. Benefit from our leading high-voltage platform, XPeng's new models will be able to obtain a higher power allocation and longer-lasting peak power at third-party charging piles than other EV models. Besides, we have built our in-house capabilities in both the development and production of electrical motors, where we also have been accelerating technology innovations. Looking ahead, we'll continue to uphold our unique approach to incorporate powertrain system design into one cohesive vehicle architecture, leveraging a growing suite of electrification technology innovations to provide consumers with smart EVs supporting longer range, faster charging, and lower cost.
我们将在自营的超级充电网络上放大我们在电动化充电技术上的优势，形成拥有规模效应的体系性壁垒。我们当前已经建立了中国自主品牌覆盖最广、体验最好的充电网络之一。那么截止到今年8月初，小鹏自营充电站已经达到了1000座的里程碑。为了全面支持800伏超快充车型的大规模交付，我们自主研发性能跟成本上都大幅领先的480千瓦超快充电桩。通过技术创新，我们的新一代超快充桩不仅功率达到了当前行业主流的120千瓦快充桩的4倍，并且实现了单桩的成本与上一代快充桩持平。所以小鹏的超快充体系可以做到最高5分钟充200公里，实现了高充电倍率电芯、车内高压平台跟充电桩能力的闭环，以及在行业里面最快最佳的充电效率。我们从8月起已经开始全面铺设480千瓦自营超充站，我们将加速在全国的主要城市特别高速沿线的部署。我们计划到2025年，我们会再建设2000个超快充站，使小鹏用户得到最佳的补能体验。不远的将来，我们期望不论是在城市里面，更重要的我们在假日旅游还是过年回家的情况下，小鹏汽车用户的充电体验都会被颠覆性的改变。以前不少我们的朋友家里面有2辆车，在市区里面用电车，在郊区用油车。我们相信随着超快充体系的建设，这一个情况很快会开始改变。
XPeng's self-operated supercharging network will further compound our advantages in electrification, technologies, and establish competitive edges. Our well-established self-operated supercharging network already features one of the broadest coverage and the best customer experience among China's independent EV brands. As of early August, the number of XPeng's self-operated supercharging stations reached 1,000, which is a new milestone. To fully support the mass delivery of our vehicle models featuring 800 voltage high power charging, we in-house developed 480 kilowatt supercharging stations, surpassing the industry's benchmarks in terms of performance and cost. Through technology innovations, our new generation supercharging station not only achieves the power 3 times higher than the industry's mainstream 120 kilowatt supercharging station, but also make the cost at the same level of the previous generation supercharging stations. XPeng's supercharging system can charge up to 200 kilometers range in 5 minutes. This outstanding charging performance demonstrates our end-to-end high-power fast charging capability constituted by EV battery capable of fast charging, onboard high voltage platform, and supercharging station, underlying the best charging efficiency in our industry. We began building our self-operated 480 kilowatt supercharging stations in August, and will soon step up our development in major cities and along main highways nationwide. By 2025, we hope to build another 2,000 high-power supercharging stations to provide a best-in-class charging experience for our consumers and customers. In the upcoming years, XPeng's customers' charging experience will be completely revolutionized across all scenarios, including vacation trips, returning to their hometowns for the Chinese New Year, or long-distance travels. The scenario of using EV to drive in the city and ICE for cross-country driving will be completely changed very soon.
在智能化方面，我们也看到智能辅助驾驶对于用户的接受程度、使用程度跟口碑效应正在持续提高。在2季度，高速 NGP 的里程渗透率超过了 65%。从5月初开始，我们将智能辅助驾驶的软件、硬件整合起来开始销售，让更多的用户群能够以更低的成本体验到行业里面最好的高等级智能辅助驾驶功能。这会逐步培养对于客户对于智能辅助驾驶的信任感以及人机共驾的用户习惯，并且这为之后小鹏可以整合提供更多创新性的智能化功能提供了一个硬件平台基础支撑。在我们5月初到7月底的订单中间，我们看到选择搭载智能辅助驾驶软件的中高配车型的渗透率显著提高到了超过 50%。
Moving on to our smart technology advancements, we are very excited to see that customers' acceptance of our advanced driver assistance system is growing at a steady pace, as is the positive influence of word of mouth among customers. As a result, our highway NGP mileage penetration rate in the second quarter reached over 65%. Beginning in early May, we integrated our XPilot software as standard configurations on mid to high-end versions of our models, allowing a broader customer base to experience our industry-leading, best-in-class, more advanced driver assistance functions at an affordable price. It has helped us cultivate trust in XPilot, reshaping driver habits towards a human-machine co-pilot pattern, and provide hardware platform support for more innovative intelligence functions in the future. Among orders received from early May to the end of July, the proportion of buyers who chose mid and high-end versions of our models equipped with XPilot grew significantly to over 50%.
我们还在以更快的速度扩展智能驾驶的边界，推出对于用户价值更高的新一代产品。我们在2季度完成了城市 NGP 首个量产版本的开发跟测试工作，在闹市、在雨夜一系列高难度场景测试中间，小鹏 P5 仅仅使用了30个 TOPS 的算力和相关的感知硬件，就实现了同类场景下行业最佳的这个安全性跟通行效率。这为我们率先进入城市场景积累了大量的经验，也建立了小鹏对于复杂城市道路的深刻洞察。在8月初，小鹏汽车跟阿里云还携手共建的自动驾驶自算中心扶摇已经启用，算力可达每秒600亿次浮点运算，这也是目前中国汽车行业最大的自动驾驶自算中心。这为小鹏在全场景智能辅助驾驶和未来即将到来的这个 L4 自动驾驶算法的深度学习训练奠定了算力基础。所有的这些都会大幅度加速我们在智能化基础上的壁垒。
We're also expanding the boundaries of smart driving at an accelerated pace as we roll out next-generation products that create greater value for customers. For instance, we have completed the development and testing process for city NGPs in the second quarter. During an array of tests throughout challenging driving situations such as crowded downtown streets and rainy nights, our P5 model equipped with only 30 TOPS of computing power in combination with its sensor hardware to achieve the industry's highest safety and driving efficiency levels among similar scenarios. By taking the lead in exploring urban driving scenarios, we have amassed a tremendous amount of experience and developed deep insight into complex city road scenarios. Notably, the Autonomous Driving Computing Center we co-developed with Alibaba Cloud, Bullion, commenced operations in early August. Bullion's computing power can reach 600 petaflops, making it the largest domestic autonomous driving computing center in China. It will provide the requisite foundation of computing power for deep learning training, which empowers our full scenario advanced driver assistance system and will facilitate the future development of level 4 autonomous driving algorithms. All of these advancements will greatly enhance our competitive advantages in smart technology.
从今年我们可以看到，各级政府正在加速推动智能辅助驾驶技术的真正的量产跟使用。自然资源部在近期宣布，北上广等6个城市开展智能网联汽车高精度地图应用试点。在此基础上，我们期待小鹏的城市 NGP 在不久以后会正式启动工程。城市 NGP 的推出，标志着我们作为智能化的领跑者，凭借人才数据体系的效率优势，我们将会进一步扩大和领先我们的优势，特别在综合体验、安全性、成本以及在可使用的覆盖的范围里面，都会拉开与同行的差距。
Since this year, we have been very happy and excited to see the development of smart driving technology has received active support from government at all levels. The Ministry of Natural Resources recently announced a pilot project that high-definition maps applicate in smart driving vehicles in 6 cities, including Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou. On this basis, we look forward to the public beta tests of the City NGP in the near future. The launch of City NGP showcases our capabilities as a pioneer in smart technology. We will leverage our competitive edges in talent, data, and system efficiency to further cement our leadership position in autonomous driving technologies, broadening our advantages in coverage, overall experience, safety performance, and cost.
我相信科技对于驾驶习惯跟购车决策的变革还只是刚刚开始。那么特别从明年，在小鹏的下一代智能化技术平台上，我们将全面升级架构，为全场景智能辅助驾驶在全中国的大范围快速布局以及使用会铺平道路。我们期望让安全便捷的智能辅助驾驶软件成为广大用户日常依赖的可靠方式。我相信全场景智能辅助驾驶将会成为消费者在购车过程中不可忽视的最核心要素。软件在全场景智能辅助驾驶之后会成为消费者的主流选择。同时，我们已经启动了基于全场景智能辅助驾驶为基础的 Robotaxi 的软件开发。我们期望在将来以更低成本的量产车以及泛化能力非常强的算法，位于自动驾驶出行行业来进行创新和赋能。
I believe that the revolution of driving habits and car purchase decision-making driven by technology has begun. So our next-generation technology to be unveiled next year will upgrade the architecture in all fronts, paving the way for fast and widespread adoption of full-scenario ADAS-enabled driving nationwide and making safe and convenient intelligent driving software a reliable partner for users. I firmly believe that a full scenario ADAS will become a core deciding factor in consumers' car purchase decisions, and that consumer adoption of ADAS software will become mainstream after the adoption increase of full scenario ADAS in the future. Additionally, we have already commenced R&D for our robotaxi software based on a full scenario ADAS in an effort to utilize lower cost, mass-produced smart EV models and algorithms with strong generalization capabilities to lead the innovation.
另外，与大家分享小鹏生态企业在最近的进展。小鹏的鹏行在7月份完成了超过1亿美元的 A 轮融资签约。在融资完成之后，鹏行将会加速智能仿生机器人的研发，并且与智能汽车在将来产生1+1大于2的协同效应。小鹏汇天的首个飞行汽车试制工厂也于7月正式落成，这标志着小鹏飞行汽车的研发进程向前迈进了关键的一步。
Moreover, I would like to share recent developments of portfolio companies in our ecosystem. XPeng Robotics completed over $100 million in Series A fundraising in July. Upon completion of the fundraising, XPeng Robotics will accelerate its R&D of bionic robots while pursuing synergies with smart EV technologies to create greater value. Also, XPeng AeroHD's first manufacturing factory for production trials of flying cars officially came into service in July, marking a significant milestone in the development of XPeng flying cars.
根据中国乘用车上险量的数据，在今年2季度，纯电的渗透率接近 20%， 但是如果不包括 A0 级和 A00 级的纯电渗透率，当前仅有 14%。在当前，智能汽车渗透率比 4% 还要更低得多。换一个角度，我们可以看到，这是一个巨大的市场，且存在长期快速的颠覆性机遇。我们相信，小鹏在超快充电动化以及在于全场景智能辅助驾驶的智能化核心技术的这个长期投入，会在接下来的多款新产品中间加速释放，进入到收获期。G9标志着小鹏汽车进入到全新一代电动、智能和整车技术平台的分水岭。我们在软件、硬件方面的创新将会真正在这一代达到一个非常深入跟创新的这个体验。我们相信，随着我们在更长续航、更高充电效率、更广度的充电网络这3个方面的优势持续增强的情况下，小鹏还会推动在中高端市场里面的燃油车、混动车更快速的向纯电动汽车的这样的一个转化。
According to China Passenger Vehicle Insurance Registration data, BEV penetration rate reached nearly 20% in the second quarter of 2022, while BEV penetration rate excluding 80 class and 800 class was only 14%, clearly indicating a vast market potential with long-term disruptive opportunities for us. Although market competition is becoming increasingly intense, I believe we'll reap the rewards of XPeng's steadfast long-term investment in electrification and core smart technologies for years to come as we bring more highly competitive new products to market. With the G9, we have taken electrification, smart technology, and platform development architecture to new heights. We will continue to propel innovations across software and hardware products, bringing consumers smart EVs featuring an unparalleled combination of advanced technology, brilliant design, and an exceptional smart driving experience. With the continuous advancement of our advantages in longer driving range, higher charging efficiency, and broader charging network coverage, XPeng will accelerate the transformation from ICEs and PHEVs in a mid to high-end market towards BEVs.
我们会在第3季度努力克服疫情以及季节性因素所带来的不利影响。我们预期在2022年第3季度，我们的总交付数量约为29000至31000辆，收入预计为人民币68到72亿。
In the third quarter, we will work to overcome the impact of COVID-19 as well as seasonal factors. We expect to deliver a total of 29,000 to 31,000 vehicles in the third quarter of 2022, with estimated revenue of 6.8 to 7.2 billion RMB.
谢谢大家。下面由我们的财务 VP Dennis 为大家介绍我们2022年第二季度的财务状况。
Thank you, everyone. With that, I'll now turn the call over to our VP of Finance, Mr. Dennis Lu, to discuss our financial performance for the second quarter of 2022.
Thank you, Mr. He, and hello, everyone. Now, I would like to provide a brief overview of our financial results for the second quarter of 2022. I will reference RMB only in my discussion today, unless otherwise stated. Our total revenues were 7.4 billion for the second quarter of 2022, an increase of 98% year-over-year and equivalent to the level of the last quarter. Revenues from vehicle sales were 6.9 billion for the second quarter of 2022, an increase of 94% year-over-year and a decrease of 0.9% from the last quarter. The year-over-year increase was mainly attributable to higher vehicle deliveries, especially for the P7 and P5. Gross margin was 10.9% for the second quarter of 2022, compared with 11.9% for the same period of 2021 and 12.2% for the last quarter. Vehicle margin reached 9.1% for the second quarter of 2022, compared with 11% for the same period of 2021 and 10.4% for the last quarter. The quarter-over-quarter decrease was mainly attributable to battery cost increase, offset partially by the revenue increase as a result of selling price adjustment. Our R&D expenses were 1.3 billion for the second quarter of 2022, an increase of 46.5% year-over-year and an increase of 3.6% quarter-over-quarter. The year-over-year and quarter-over-quarter increase were mainly due to, number one, the increase in employee compensation as a result of expanded research and development staff, and number two, higher expenses relating to the development of new vehicles to support our future growth. SG&A expenses were 1.7 billion for the second quarter of 2022, an increase of 61.5% year-over-year and equivalent to the level of the last quarter. The year-over-year increase was mainly due to, number one, higher marketing, promotional, and advertising expenses to support vehicle sales, and number two, the expansion of our sales network and the associated personnel costs and commission for the franchise store sales. As a result of foregoing, loss from operations was 2.1 billion for the second quarter of 2022, compared with 1.4 billion for the same period of 2021 and 1.9 billion for the last quarter. Exchange loss from foreign currency transaction was 0.9 billion for the second quarter of 2022, primarily resulting from the revaluation impact of RMB-dominated assets held in the U.S. functional currency subsidiaries and rapid depreciation of the RMB against the US dollar in the second quarter of 2022. Net loss was 2.7 billion for the second quarter, compared with 1.2 billion for the same period a year ago and 1.7 billion for the last quarter. As of June 30, 2022, our company had cash equivalent, restricted cash, short-term deposits, short-term investment, and long-term deposits in total of 41.3 billion. To be mindful of the length of our earnings call, I will encourage listeners to refer to our earnings press release for more details on our second quarter financial results. This concludes our prepared remarks. We will now open the call to questions. Operator, please go ahead.
Thank you. If you would like to ask a question, please press star then one. We do ask you please pick up your handset before pressing the keys. To withdraw your question, please press star then two. For the benefit of all participants on today's call, if you wish to ask your question to management in Chinese, please immediately repeat your question in English. Also, for the sake of clarity and order, please ask one question at a time. Management will respond, and then feel free to follow up with your next question. Today's first question comes from Tim Hsiao with Morgan Stanley. Please.
管理层你好，非常感谢接受我的提问哦。那我第一个问题是有关于小鹏汽车这块，就是在技术创新这边一个相关的问题。因为我们看到小鹏汽车在许多前沿的技术领域都是领先业界，比如说刚才这个小鹏总也提到，就是城市的这个 NGP 和800伏的这个超充。那我们如何能够透过这些技术的创新，吸引更多终端的一些用户，进而更有效的刺激我们接下来几个季度的一个整车销售？那尤其小鹏汽车是所处的是一个大众的市场，那相较于技术革新呢，那用户可能更加重视一些性价比以及一些硬件的规格。那我们也看到很多友商的这个竞品也都着重在一个高性价比这块的一个优势，所以想听听管理层的一个看法。So my first question is about the technology innovation and how we are going to translate that into our vehicle sales. Because XPeng is the leader in several technology domains, for example, like CTNGP and 800 voltage supercharging. So how could we maximize the traction of all the technological innovation, especially in the premium mass market, where we notice consumers might be less tech savvy and care more about their pricing performance ratio and hardware spec? So that's my first question.
谢谢。这个我相信不是用一个性价比，我在相信是我们在内部叫做一个配价比，也就是说它的具体的配置跟价格的这样一个情况。在过去的时间，我们来认为一个新车如果它的配价比合适，它在初期它是会有比较好的销量的。但是如何在6个月到18个月甚至更长的时间内都有一个比较好的销量，我相信更重要的来自于它的品牌，以及来自于它持续给客户带来的这个产品上跟客户上的差异化。在过去的时间里面，小鹏 P7 实际上最开始交付的前6个月的销量并不大，但是当我们推出来了高速 NGP 的时候，以及当我们逐步推出来的新的配置之后，我们看到的这个销量的差异，这个变化是非常之大的。那么在过去的时间里面呢，实际上先帮我翻译第一段吧。
Sorry, thank you for the question. Actually, we do not talk about performance over price ratio that much. Rather, we put more emphasis on the configuration versus pricing more. If the configuration for a particular pricing is good of our vehicle, then the sales will naturally increase. However, if you look at the sales performance for the subsequent 6 months and 18 months after the launch of a particular product, you actually have to rely on the branding, the after-sales services, the product quality, and the unique competitiveness of our products themselves. Let's take P7 for example. If you look at the first 6 months of sales performance of that particular product after its first launch, the sales wasn't that great. However, ever since we launched the City NGP function as well as other high quality configurations in accordance with the P7's model, we definitely see a huge increase in the sales.
我相信在过去的时间里面，作为新能源汽车的这个客户，他们会关注整体汽车的这个配价比和平衡。那么更多的会在去年、在今年会关注整体的，包括了续航的成本、续航的安全、补能的方便性等一系列的问题。那么小鹏在过去的时间里面获得了很多对智能化感兴趣、充满爱好的这样一客户。那么我相信在小鹏从G9开始，我们在电动化如何能够在更低的成本、更长的续航、更好的安全性、更快速的充电的效率，以及更有规模化效应的这个充电网络里面，我们会做到第一个的平衡。那么这会导致了在未来的时间里面，对于纯电的整个使用体验，原来有认为不足的这个客户会得到满足。其次，我们小鹏的智能化，我相信在2023年从G9开始，这个我们的全场景智能辅助驾驶会是在智能化上第一个 Killer APP 这样的一个应用。那么它会去打通客户在全场景使用智能辅助驾驶在安全、成本、体验上的闭环的感受。
For the past 4 years, we have been able to attract a large quantity of customers that are interested in the configuration versus price ratio or that kind of balance in new energy vehicles. And ever since last year, we noticed that customers begin to pay more and more attention to the driving range of new energy vehicles and also the safety of driving and the charging experience, etc. And as a result, because of our concerted effort and commitment into boosting our performance in those areas for the past 4 years, we are also able to gain a lot of trust and love and support from our loyal customers as well. And in the future, especially going forward, as we continue to develop our smart technologies and electrification in different aspects in terms of extending the driving range, driving safety, as well as the charging network and the convenience of charging, we will be able to enjoy the economies of scale benefiting from our previous R&D efforts. And as a result, we believe that we can gradually convert those customers that were not so happy with the, for example, charging experience for new energy vehicles, as well as other aspects of the performance of new energy vehicles, and slowly transition them into adopting more and more new energy vehicles, especially BEVs. And going forward, especially since the launch of G9, we believe that with the adoption of full scenarios ADAS technology, we'll be able to boost our performance of our products to a whole new level. And ever since that, we'll be able to attract more and more users, and that will translate into our sales performance. Thank you.
那么以上2点增强了小鹏在下一代汽车里面的能力，但是还有一个非常重要点是如何让整车的研发制造成本得以大幅度的下降。那么在这里面我举出2个例子，第一个就是说，从G9开始是小鹏第一次将智能化、电动化跟整车技术平台统一成平台化。在过去的时间里面，小鹏每一款车都在进行快速的技术向前的迭代。那么从G9开始，我们呢在3条线的技术都能达到一个90分的这样的一个情况，我们会统一平台化，使大幅度下降研发成本，并且提高整车的质量跟效率。其次，我们在制造工艺上面做了大量的研发，从2019年底，那么到了未来的2到3年里面，在制造工艺上会大幅度提高我们在包括感官质量、包括颜值、包括一体化压铸、包括整车的这个 C2C、C2P 等系列的在制造工艺里面的我们的向前走的这样一个情况。那么这会相当幅度的降低整车的研发成本，提高效率。那么这3点的组合，我更有信心在未来的多款车里面，小鹏对于这一个全新技术里面，既能够满足客户的闭环的需求，又能够获得更好的这个销售的体验。
In addition to that, I would also like to mention that actually with our commitment and investment in our R&D technologies, we are able to further decrease our cost of manufacturing and R&D in the future with the adoption of our platform-based vehicle architecture, as well as our new generation of smartification and electrification technologies. Let's take G9, for example. This is our first flagship products that actually adopt the mature level of these 3 areas of the technologies, which as a result are able to bring down our manufacturing costs as well as our R&D costs as well. Because for the past years, we've been, every single product that we launch has been focusing on advancing technologies and iterating next generation technologies. But in the future, we will begin to reap the rewards of our previous investment in the R&D, and as a result, that will translate into a lot of reduction in our R&D costs as well as manufacturing costs, and that will also contribute to the enhancement of our overall quality of the products that we are going to launch in the future, as well as enhancing the manufacturing efficiency and R&D efficiency as well. And since 2019, we've been investing in improving our manufacturing craftsmanship as well. As a result, in the upcoming 2 to 3 years, we believe that we will also welcome in a new generation of quality boost in terms of the overall user feel of our both the interior and the exterior of our vehicles in the future, as well as the adoption of more and more integrated die casting technologies that will allow us to achieve future upgrade of our product quality. And as a result, as I mentioned earlier, we will be able to actually lower our R&D and manufacturing costs, as well as enhancing our overall product quality. And so in the future, we believe that we will be able to actually witness better sales performance as a result. Thank you.
好，非常感谢小鹏总详细的分享。那我第二个问题想要跟进一下，因为刚才其实也提到了我们一些平台的策略，那是不是可以分享一下，就是我们在 G9 就是 Adult 平台之后的一个后续平台的一些策略？因为之前提到明年会有一个两款车 B Class 跟 C Class 的车型，那也会基于2个新增的平台。那我们有鉴于现在整个产品技术迭代也在加速，竞争也在加剧，那就您觉得新的这些智能电动车的平台合理的生命周期是多长？那每一个平台在生命周期里面能够支持多少数量一个车型的开发？My second question is about the platform strategy. So following the launch of the G9 powered by AdWord platform, I think XPeng is going to launch new models next year based on 2 platforms. So in light of faster iteration and more intense competition, what would be the reasonable life cycle of our next generation platform, and how many models we plan to build on each of the platforms throughout their life cycle? So that's my second question. Thank you.
是的，我们在2023年会推出2个全新的平台，我们相信这2个平台总共我们会研发最少6款这个全新的汽车。我们相信在这2款平台的生命周期，最起码在第一个中改的之前，我们认为它大概有3年的这样的一个生命周期。我们在最近还在讨论从现在的平台向无人驾驶里面升级过渡的方式，我们可以非常清晰的可以看到，即使到了2025年，我们这2款平台能够进行快速的平台升级，能够进入到下一步的智能化跟下一步的电动化的这样一个领域里面。所以我们相信，在整车的这个智能汽车的平台化，我们相信小鹏已经进入到一个我们相信进入了3到6年的这样一个平台化的一个周期。这会导致了我们除了在最开始的开发成本会是有一定的之后，后面每一款车的开发成本都会有大幅度的缩减。
Thank you for your question. Indeed, in 2023, we aim to launch 2 new platforms to develop in total 6 new vehicles in the future that's based on our current platforms in total. And we also estimate an average of 3 years life cycle for each single platform before any system upgrades for those platforms. And we also have been discussing internally a lot of possibilities to upgrade our current platforms to allow them to empower our next generation of smartification and electrification technologies in the future as well. And so in the future, we estimate that actually our products have already entered into a very good cycle of developing based on our platform-based vehicle architecture technology of using at least 3 to 6 years of life cycle for those platforms, which will continue to fuel our future product development.
谢谢小鹏总的分享。Thank you very much for sharing all the insight. Thank you.
And our next question today comes from Jeff Chung with Citi. Please go ahead.
小鹏总，各位管理层好，我是华西的 Jeff。想请问，就是看来明年是一个大的产品周期，因为刚才听说这个有 C 级车、B 级车、G9的这个 ramp up， 然后新的 P7 的话会有一个这个全新的大改款，所以我就想问，就是说新旧的车型加起来就可能会达到这个6台产品啊，再加这个 G3i 和 P5， 那明年有没有可能就是挑战30万这个全年的这个销量？因为感觉新产品的话应该也会大概是15000台到2万台的一个单月销量，那旧产品可不可以就是维持在1万到15000这个水平，那更加是贴近可能1万台一个月，就是现在的这个旧的这个 P7、P5 和 G3i 更加可能是贴近 1万到1万2的这个成熟的每月的这个销量，还是可以回到1万5啊？就是想问一下，到底是维持这个旧产品在1万2的水平，这个难度会更大，还是就是说新产品这个增量这个难度会更大？就想大家平衡一下。So my first question is about the strong motorcycle ahead in 2023. We are going to launch a 4 new brand new product, the C segment, E segment, G9, and the midterm facelift P7. So could you give us some insight at whether we can challenge the annual sales run rate at about 300,000 unit level? And if yes, could you break down the portion between the old products and the new products, and whether the current old product P7, G3i, and P5 matured sustainable monthly run rate can be maintained at 12,000 units. Thank you. 这是我第一个问题啊，谢谢。
Hey Jeff, this is Brian. Let me answer your question. First of all, as you know that we don't give guidances that far out, so I cannot give you a number, but I can give you some color regarding how do we see the new models going to position and compete in our lineup. First of all, I think we still see continued growth in our core product. For example, P7 with the update next year. We believe P7 will renew and continue its strong performance. We have hope that G9 next year will exceed the monthly delivery of P7. So you can actually do a little bit of calculation of what number that will represent. The next year's new models, the first half will launch a B-class based product that's actually going to target even larger market segment. You could, probably, consider that to be strong competitors to the current Model Y in the market. So we believe that will actually also be a model that can generate substantial numbers in terms of delivery and sales. Obviously, the fourth new product, the C-class product, will be launched in the second half, and given the premium and large format positioning, the number may be limited in terms of contribution. But again, it's still going to be targeting a brand new segment that we did not cover before. So with that, you can get a sense of what the likely sort of peak level monthly delivery next year will look like, and we're very confident about our strong growth.
好的，谢谢。然后我还有第二个问题啊，很快的，就是这个二季度的毛利率就是掉了一点点嘛，也是我感觉还是比市场想的要好一些。但是我们就看的话，就 P7 这个高毛利车就是跟一季度比少了大概3000多台嘛，然后电池成本其实也有增加。那就感觉就是说我们的这个二季度的毛利率就相对还是比较defensive 的，就是对防守性比较强，就能不能给我们拆一拆，就是说P7 的这个减少的产品组合可能降低了多少毛利率，电池成本是多少，降低了多少，然后毛利率的这个可能是防守性比较强，可能是那边软件那边的一些收入啊，能不能帮我们拆一拆啊？这个比这个预期还是要好的。然后如果是这个可以给我们一个这个回答的话，那三季度我们怎么看这个毛利率的这个 margin trend 啊？因为我们之前也给过一个指引，就是说三季度的这个 margin 可以回到一季度。那现在就是说这个三季度的毛利这个量的话还是比较保守啊，所以就是说，但是二季度的毛利又没有想象这么差，所以现在这么看的话，就怎么看这个三季度？那如果三季度还是防守性很强的话，那这就是一个底部啊，这就是一个底部。然后明年的 model cycle 就是一个大的 model cycle 啊，就想搞清楚这个逻辑，这个是怎么去想啊 ？So my second question is about the GP margin in the second quarter. So I think it's a little bit better than consensus. And on the negative side, we had a P7 sales volume declined by 3,500 units Q-on-Q, and this was a high margin product. And also after factoring the battery cost high Q-on-Q, it seems that the GP margin was still quite resilient. So could you break down the details, elaborate a bit on the second quarter? And also how about going to the third quarter? How do we see the margin trend? Thank you.
Jeff, let me answer your questions, and Brian or Charles can supplement later. You're right. In the first quarter, our vehicle margin was 10.4%. In the second quarter, the vehicle margin was 9.1%. So we dropped about 1.3 points. This was better than our original expectation because we were able to price the battery cost increase. However, due to some accumulated the orders, so the new price order was delivered until late May. So we could not fully recover the battery cost through the price adjustment. That's one difference. And the other one would be, as you mentioned, the P7 mix in the second quarter was lower than 50%. So that has some mix impact. I cannot bring the detailed numbers to you, but basically the margin reduction was primarily due to number one, the cost increase, which were not fully covered in the second quarter, and then the mix change. Looking forward to the third quarter, I think we will be able to deliver the new price orders starting from July. So that's a good news compared with the second quarter. And more importantly, we will have better product mix in terms of the P7 as a percent of the total deliveries compared with second quarter. So we are anticipating the margin in the third quarter will improve compared with the second quarter, will be equivalent or very close to the first quarter level for the moment. That's all I can tell you for the moment.
Yeah, and then Jeff, let me comment on your sort of point about a product cycle and also the current sort of whether both from the margin as well as from growth rate, how do we see the current situation? As Dennis mentioned, the margin because of the mix change. As well as stabilization of battery, and also our orders are now reflective of the few price change as well as our sort of incentive mix change. We see third quarter margin should be stabilized and perhaps better than the second quarter. And also because we are starting to launch new products, obviously G9 being delivered in October will be the first of the few new products that we can launch. We start to see growth being sort of generated from these new product launches as well as going to fourth quarter. We feel like the seasonality is in our favor. So we do think there is a strong chance and strong confidence that we are going to a growth cycle led by our new product launches this end of this year as well as throughout the next year, as well as I think with these new models also representing better margin due to the platform design as well as higher price points compared to our ASP. So those are the observations I can make at the moment.
好，谢谢管理层啊，没有其他问题了。好，谢谢。
And our next question today comes from Ben Wong with Credit Suisse. Please go ahead.
各位领导好，那我的问题是关于这个三季度销量指引啊，因为很多人很有兴趣想知道，因为我们在7月份做了一个促销，那么在促销之后呢，我们的指引好像也并不是因为促销有一个环比增长吧。想问这个促销是不是准备取消了？特别在8月下半月，是不是9月份准备取消才会有这样的指引？还是说这个指引是假设这个促销他也给了一个指引说这个毛利率会回到1季度的水平嘛？那这个里面有没有包含这个促销的考虑？是说已经考虑过促销全季度呢，还会有一个毛利率的改善，还是说假设促销在这个月就取消这个9月份也没有？好，谢谢。My question is all about there was a promotion in start from mid of July. So what's the low in terms of both the volume guidance in the third quarter? So basically, if you have a bigger promotion, you should have a better volume. So did you mean you have a relatively conservative volume guidance? Means that you already plan to cancel the promotion start from this month or next month. Meanwhile, you also give a pretty positive guidance about the margin in the third quarter, which will be returned to the level of the first quarter. Did you also assume your promotion will disappear, start from, say, mid of this month and next month? Thank you.
So Bing, this is Brian. To answer your question, first of all, the third quarter delivery guidance is what is considered all the information to date. So it will include obviously all the promotion and price adjustments that were made in the past. I think the guidance also reflective the fact that we are entering into a relatively slow season, and also we can see that some of the traffics in the stores are less than what we've seen before because post-COVID situations. And also, I think there's a part also due to that before the new model launch and deliveries, there are a little bit of people waiting to compare to existing purchases. So all that I think you will see both from our experience as well as from peers' performance as well. On the margin front, I think what I would say is that the promotions that we offer to the models actually is less than the price increases that we made in the second quarter. So net actually the margin on the products is actually slightly better in this current sort of pricing environment or pricing mix. So we are seeing improvement in third quarter or stabilization in third quarter margins. I don't think we have actually guided back to the first quarter level yet, but I think we see stabilization improvement in the third quarter versus second quarter.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Our next question today comes from Ming Li at BofA. Please go ahead.
谢谢各位管理层，我是 Ming。我这边的话，第一个问题是关于刚才小鹏总提到的这个超快动电池。那想了解一下这个电池的话呢，它是透过怎么样的一个这个化学的这个方式呢，去 enhance 加强我们这个快充的速度。那也想了解一下说这样子的一个专利或者是设计的话，这个是在我们这边，还是说我们的这个合作商可能也会提供类似的产品给我们的竞争对手？然后另外也想了解一下我们这个刚才小鹏总也提到说自制这个电机的话，这个最主要是成本考量，还是说还有其他的考量？So my questions is regarding the battery technology, because you just mentioned that the charging speed is much faster than the current battery. So do you own the patent and the technology, or your supplier own it? And can they supply such kind of battery to other OEMs? And also, what is the reason for you to manufacture the motor on yourself? 谢谢。
谢谢。第一个问题，这个要想说的超快充，实际上需要这个包括电芯的管理 pack， 包括整车，包括电装的4个方面的合作。所以在这个体系里面，在小鹏的体系里面，电芯我们是会跟我们的合作伙伴共同进行设计跟研发的。那么在这个里面呢，专利在部分里面我们是共享的，但是在整车，在整个电芯的 pack 的管理，以及在电动装的研发，以及在我们的部署上，这些都是在小鹏的体系里面去做到的。那么关于您的第二个问题，在关于电机的这个方面的自研跟自制的这个事情，我相信有几个点。第一个点就是说如何能够拥有更长的续航，且是更低的成本，且是更好的品质。那么这3个上面，我们在这个3个方面进行努力，所以这是我们在自研自制电机的几个原因。谢谢。
Now, thank you for your question. In regards to supercharging, now there are several aspects of the consideration in the technologies behind the supercharging. First of all, you have to look at the battery themselves and the management of the battery pack, as well as the whole vehicle manufacturing and design, as well as the charging piles. Now, we do conduct collaborations in terms of the R&D of the development of the batteries with our suppliers and our partners. And and so we share some of those patents in those areas. However, we have in-house R&D capabilities, and we own the patents of our management of the batteries, as well as the design and manufacturing of the whole vehicles and the charging piles as well. So that's to the first part of your question. In regards to the second part of your question, which is about the reasons behind or the rationale behind the in-house development and research of our motors, it is because it's very important for us to control the quality for the development of the motors to uphold the highest standards of the, for example, quality of our products, as well as to maintain the level of technology level that we aim to achieve. And so in order to achieve that, we have to do the R&D in-house. Thank you.
Hey, Ming, let me just add to answer your second question. The reason is better performance because our self-designed motor actually has a very compact design, also efficiency that allows us to prolong the range of the vehicles better than what we can get on the market.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Sorry, a quick follow-up question regarding the new model in 2023. Brian, you just mentioned that the product could be a comparative product of Model Y. So can I say it will be slightly smaller than G9, and the price-wise will be slightly lower. So it has a large addressable market. Thank you.
Yes, that's what it will likely to be positioned.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. And our next question today comes from Paul Gong with UBS. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for taking my question. Just two questions. The first one, still want to discuss a little bit more on the Q3 guidance. Do you see it is more like a supply side constraint or demand side constraint? So is it like the supply chain, or do you see the really it's a demand side temporarily due to the seasonality? And the second question is regarding the potential cannibalization. So you are going to have a B segment SUV as well as a C segment model next year. Given you already have the medium-sized sedan and the SUV P7 and G9, how do you see the cannibalization versus each other? 就第一个问题来说的话，还是想弄清楚一下，就三季度的这么一个指引，现在来说是更多的因为供应端的这个供应链的问题呢，还是就是说需求端的这个季节性的一个弱化？第二个问题的话，就是明年的这个 B 级的 SUV 和 C 级车的话，跟我们现在的那个 P7 和这个 G9 的一个内耗，我们能不能分享一下有没有一些相互的蚕食？
Hey, Paul. So on the first question, I think I mentioned earlier that we see the weakness mostly due to seasonal weakness, but also post COVID control measures. There's a lack of traffic, and also ahead of the new model launches, there's a little bit of a comparison and wait and see attitude, which you saw, I think, in other models or other peers as well. But from our own perspective, also there's the level of orders not pairing with the supply chain because the mismatch in some of the order models. So those are the reasons that I think we have currently provided such a delivery estimate view. So that's to answer your first question. Second question you had on the new models versus our current lineup. We feel like, first of all, there's very minimal overlap in cannibalization. As what I answered just before this question, the new B-class model product in terms of size and in terms of price points will be different compared to G9. It will be positioned also very differently and competing with a very different different segment. And also next year the new models are not sedan models, so it does not compete with P7 as well. So there's minimal cannibalization from our model positioning and lineup.
Okay, thank you very much.
our next question today, our next question today comes from Nick Lay with JP Morgan. Please go ahead.
关宇成，大家晚上好，我就2个简单的问题吧，很多问题其他的分析师都已经问了。第一个是有关这个芯片供应的问题，想 update 一下。我们理解是现在芯片的短缺应该不是个问题了。去年是博士这边 MCU 人缺少比较多，但是现在我们就从供应商跟这个渠道了解，像芯片的除了少部分英飞凌的这些驱动芯片之外，应该大部分都没有 shortage 的问题了。那这部分有关芯片的问题，想跟公司 update 一下，是不是咱们的状况跟我们的理解差不多？那同样的有关这个供给面的问题，最近有些客户关心到这个国内这些限电的问题，不晓得对整个供应链有没有一些影响？这是第一个有关供给的问题。假设我可以的话，我直接问第二个问题，有关财务的问题。我们在这个2季度的时候有一个8.9亿的这个 FX 的外汇的损失。刚刚 Dennis 有提到说这个是子公司的一些研发支出等等，这个部分可不可以再帮我们再多详细说明一下？是不是因为这个人民币在4月份有大幅贬值造成的 FX loss？ 那是假如人民币回升的话，这是可以 write back 的。Let me quickly translate my question. The first question is really an update on chip supply condition, as well as any production impact from power shortage currently in China, if at all. That's the first question related to production and supply equation. And second question is really on second quarter or first half. We booked about 890 million FX loss. Can we explain a little bit more on that? Thank you.
对，我觉得回答您的第一个问题，这个从去年开始，电芯和芯片的短缺问题始终在这个围绕在小鹏汽车。从我们现在目前来看的话，这个我相信从明年年初开始，电芯的整个的产能问题，在包括小鹏，包括整个行业会有一个比较好的缓解啊，这是我认为。那么在芯片上的话呢，在上半年这个有数十款芯片都是经常处于长期的这个高风险的这样一个情况，但是从目前来看的话，还处于高风险的芯片的数量有比较大的下降，但是就如同我们所说的这个，我们一台汽车有5000个芯片，所以芯片肯定可能或多或少的在这个智能汽车的体系里面，还会存在一些轻微的瓶颈，但是我相信在明年的时候也会相当程度的缓解。关于四川等一些城市的限电，目前来看的话，这个我们在这个供应链的这个管理上面跟他们做了沟通，在比较提前就已经在有相关的沟通，所以从目前我们的这个小鹏的供应链里面来看，限电对我们的供应链的影响并不大。谢谢。
Let me address your questions. First of all, in regards to the chip and battery shortage, definitely since last year, we have been greatly challenged by these two problems in the supply chain. However, since we believe that the problem, the shortage in these two raw materials will be greatly relieved by the beginning of next year. Now, for the first half of this year, there were a total of about 10 types of chipsets that were in high risk of supply shortage. And so far, we have seen a reduction in the number of the types of shortage that face high risk of supply shortage. And as I mentioned, previously, there's a total of 5,000 different types of chips included in every single vehicle. And so definitely chip shortage will still be a big problem. But however, we are very excited and glad to see that the supply shortage is being relieved. And definitely by the beginning of next year, the problem will be much less stress and dire for us. Now, in regards to the second part of your questions, because of very early preempt measures and communications, we are not being challenged or troubled or concerned with the power shortage or a power supply shortage in, for example, provinces such as Sichuan. Thank you.
Hey, Nick, this is Dennis. Let me further explain the so-called currency law, exchange laws from the foreign currency transaction. Because when we had the US IPO and the Hong Kong IPO, major money was raised and kept in the US subsidiaries. So the functional currency is US dollar. And through kind of intercompany lending, the US subsidiary lend the money to the domestic, I mean the company, the subsidiaries in China. through the kind of intercompany lending. So this is kind of the RMB dominated assets held by the U.S. subsidiaries. So in the future, the money should be returned back to the U.S. So to convert back to the U.S. dollar. So when RMB has the appreciation, we will get the revaluation benefits. And in the second quarter, due to the rapid RMB depreciation against the U.S. dollar, so there's a revaluation impact, negative revaluation impact held in the second quarter. So in the future, if the currency change, we will do that on a monthly basis. So if RMB appreciates against the U.S. dollar, that will have the positive gain on the foreign currency transaction. So you're right, that's the trend.
Yeah, Nick, just to make it clear, first of all, it's non-cash. Doesn't mean that we have converted the cash. It's just the valuation because of the currency exchange rate differences result in such sort of swings. Obviously, every quarter we have to value the assets using our functional currency, and that's why there's differences resulting from that. Because the RMB exchange rate reacted pretty, I would say, significantly in the last quarter.
Yeah, I understand. It's non-cash item. Thank you indeed, Dennis and Brian. Thank you.
And our next question today comes from Jing Shang with CICC. Please go ahead.
好的，各位公司领导，我是来自中金汽车的常金，那我这边主要跟进可能2个小的问题，一个是就是我们还是想问一下，就是我们怎么看待可能在这个20万左右的这个价格段位的一个竞争格局和消费者偏好，那如果就我们的现在的比方说 P5 而言的话，相较竞品的话，能否分享一下我们认为它现阶段的可能主要的一些优势和可能相比的不足和提升空间的地方啊？那明年的话，是否 P5 这边也会有一些改款的计划？以及说如果有一些提升之后的话，我们预期可能 P5 稳态的一个月销水平在什么样的一个水平？This is my first question. How do we look at the competition pattern and consumer preference of the market priced at 200,000 RMB compared with peer models? Can you share what we think are our major advantages and disadvantages? Whether there would be a new version of P5 next year, and how should we expect the monthly sales volume at a steady state?
你好，我相信20万左右的这个整车的车型，在今年甚至明年的竞争还会继续加剧。那么在这个里面的竞争实际上主要有2种啊。第一种竞争，这个来自于这个走续航性价比。那么第2种竞争呢，我相信主要是来自于这个续航也设计和智能的平衡。那么在 P5 的这个体系里面 ，P5 整体在于智能化以及在于空间能够达到一个比较好的优势。那么从我们现在来看到，整个 P5 的这个销售是平稳的。如何看待这个 P5 明年的这个销售情况？我
们可能现在不会给这样子细的 guidance， 包括是数量和 level， 但是我觉得就是我们对P7 因为有一个新的 update， 我觉得它会有持续的增长的潜力。P5 的话，我觉得竞争在加剧，我们认为 P5 的量会在现在的那个 level 可能会有一些的那个损耗，但是我认为还是有很强的竞争力的。
这个随着 CNGP 的发布，我们相信会类似 P7 发布高速 NGP 一样，会有一波向更高端的这样的一个销售的一个情况，这是我们的判断。谢谢。
好的。
Thank you. Thank you for your question. Now, in regards to the competitive landscape within the price range of 200,000 RMB, we believe the competition will continue to be very intense for this year and the coming year as well. And there are 2 types of competition out there, really. The first type is regarding the driving range as well as the performance over pricing ratio. And the other is about the overall design and the smartification features for those kind of products. And for P5, its advantages is definitely in regards to the, it's very outstanding in terms of the overall design, its smart features, as well as its immersive and very immense sort of cabin space as well. and we have observed a very steady sales performance for P5. In regards to P5 sales performance guidance for 2023, we do not give out guidance with that kind of level of details in terms of specific quantity of sales expectation. But because there are some smaller, some new updates for P7, we definitely believe that maybe it will have a small impact on the sales performance of P5. But overall, we expect to see very good performance in terms of the sales for P5 overall. And also with the as we observe for P7 with the newly launched City NGP, we observed a boost in its sales performance, and we expect to see the same situation happen for P5 as well, which means that with the launch of a higher level of smart features such as City level NGP, the sales performance for P5 will grow. Thank you.
好的，我这边第二个问题是关于我们这边也主要提及了关于这个超级快充这边网络的一些建设，那也会进行一个比较大规模的一个推广，那想问一下，就是你们是怎么考虑可能这个超快充这边的一个大规模使用的一个时间节点？我们认为是会可能非常快速的可能普及到各个价格段的车型，然后包括可能消费者，还是说可能需要通过可能这个几年的一个时间逐步的进行渗透，然后另外就是在这个高压平台对整车可能核心的部件的一些采购和制造成本端这边的一个成本的增加应该怎么去预期？然后高压平台的这个应用的车型能不能够具备这样的一个降本的能力，去实现一个价格的下探？那my second question is how do you think about the timing of mass usage of supercharging? Will it be popularized quickly, or will it need to gradually penetrate over a few years? In addition, how should the high voltage platform increase the purchase or manufacturing cost of the vehicle? Can it achieve a rapid price? Can it be penetrated to a lower price models?
关于超快充网络，我们的建设速度跟使用的使用的范围，我相信会比我们想象都要快。我们从这个季度开始来在建设超快充，我们在下个季度，也就是今年第4季度，就会建立数十个单元。那么在2023年，我们会极大加速整个超快充的建设。那么例如 G9除了在高配支持 4C 的充电之外，其他的配置全部都支持 3C 的这个超快充。我们在 G9 以后的平台上也都支持高电压、大电流的超快充体系。所以在包括 G9 在内的后面的平台，因为统一都在使用高压平台，实际上我们在高压平台的这一个供应链的管理、成本的管理上面，我们还是非常有信心的。那么只有把这样一个做出来，才有可能把超规模，就是说，第一，车上要支持这个超快充；第二个，装要能够布局的速度足够快。我们相信在明年的下半年，我们的超快充的网络就已经初步成型，以及在后年我们会进行大范围的成型。谢谢。
Now, in regards to the construction and the adoption of our supercharging network, definitely it's developing quicker than expected. This quarter, we started, the aggressive construction of our network, and by Q4 this year, we believe that we will have another dozens of new stations equipped with these supercharging facilities. And by 2023, our supercharging network will be constructed even at a higher pace. Now, for example, G9, with its highest configuration model, fully compatible with the 4C supercharging facility. All the other configurations and other, models actually of G9, other versions of G9 actually support 3C supercharging function. And in the future, because our platforms right now will support this high voltage and high power supercharging facility, we believe that our future models will all be equipped with this kind of functionality, which means that we can be able to do better supply chain control to equip our future products with this kind of facility and allow us to achieve better economies of scale as well as cost controlled effects. Now, there are two things that we need to focus on when we talk about the supercharging network construction. One is the development and the design of our vehicle products, to support this kind of high voltage supercharging function. And the other is the quickening construction of our supercharging network and the charging piles. And by the second half of 2023, we believe that we expect to see very well established supercharging networks that can fully promote the adoption of our supercharging quick charging facility. Thank you.
好的，谢谢。
And ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our question and answer session. I'd like to turn the conference back over to the company for closing remarks.
Thank you once again for joining us today. If you have further questions, please feel free to contact XPeng's investor